We've been talking about him all week and actually last week too, and really for the last several months and actually the last several years. But at 4 o'clock today, officially teams are allowed to contact Lamar Jackson himself about potentially signing him to an offer sheet, prying him away from the Ravens for a huge multi-million-dollar, potentially fully guaranteed deal, giving the Ravens 2 first-round picks for the right to sign him. It just doesn't seem like that is something that is going to happen, unless I've completely misread the market, which I guess theoretically could be possible. It just doesn't seem like teams are scrambling to sign him. And the reason why, by the way, you have to wait till 4 o'clock is because Lamar Jackson does not have an agent. So teams are not allowed to discuss anything like this with him before that. Similar, I would say, to Jacoby Brissett, similar to Bobby Wagner. All do not have agents. Teams cannot contact them before 4 p.m. today. As far as Lamar Jackson, this kind of got interesting a little bit yesterday. Maybe add a little fire to this conversation that we've been discussing. He talked about an offer that he got from the Ravens, 3 years, $133 million, fully guaranteed. They tried various options to try to get this thing done. It has not gotten done, but at least today at 4 p.m. he can find out officially what his market is.
It really is exciting, Ian. We appreciate you, and the tweet just added a little kindling to that fire that we've been stoking at, and we will get back to Ian, believe me,
very exciting,
very shortly. Thank you, Rap Sheet. Last week, so follow the timeline here, the Ravens placed the non-exclusive tag on their franchise quarterback, Lamar Jackson. What that means is other teams can make him an offer. Then the Ravens have a chance to match those offers if they even come. So we were talking about this earlier in the week that since Lamar is self-represented, we don't know how you get in touch with him. Do you actually call him? And if you call him, is there just a voicemail box? Is it full? Like, we're actually genuinely curious about this, and you're not going to believe this. We have secured some made-up voicemails that some of the teams who could be interested in have left him making an offer. Now, you might not believe this, but these are farcical calls, but they're probably some represented. Lest anyone think that these are real, you'll find out shortly that these are satirical. But here's the Lamar Jackson voicemail box, guys. We're going to play some, and then we're going to react to it. First voicemail, this one comes from the South, Atlanta. Falcons head coach Arthur Smith talking to Lamar's voicemail.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hey, Lamar. Arthur Smith here. We here down in Atlanta are ready for you to be our new franchise QB. We've got the money to back it up. Think about this. You could be the next Falcons QB legend, alongside guys like Matt Ryan, Michael Vick, and, the others. Anyways, call me.
All right, so that was Coach Smith leaving the message on Lamar's answering machine. Let's just go around. If we heard that, if you're Lamar listening to that, what do you think about that as a landing spot? Let's start with you, Jay.
I'm excited.
Are you?
He said Michael Vick, and he said Lamar Jackson in the same statement. And if I'm Atlanta, you look at what they did last year with not many parts, and Arthur Smith was able to string some wins together. But he was able to run the ball week in and week out with so many different formations, and it's had a ton of, not a ton, but it's had success with Mariota starting in Tennessee and then last year in Atlanta. So you add a guy like Lamar Jackson, who had a ton of success with Mark Andrews, and you pair him with a guy like Kyle Pitts, and they have the money. They can give him the guarantees that he wants, and he can go to Atlanta, go there, be their franchise quarterback, and somebody that can take them to the next level. So I would be fired up if I was an Atlanta fan. Arthur Smith's on the voicemail, and get Lamar there.
I'm surprised Arthur Smith didn't say, do you understand the number of flights out of Hartsfield-Jackson that we have to Miami? It's just a puddle jump.
He should have said that.
Down there. He should have said that.
Like
Good selling point.
You know how close we are to the amount of time you spend in Miami? This would be a monster selling point. But you're right. To Jason's point, they were third in the NFL in rushing with Marcus Mariota. They are built, honestly, if this was real, they're actually not in Lamar contention, but as we're playing these hypotheticals, they're actually the only offense that's really built for him. They are built big, down the middle. That's the way Arthur thinks. That's why he was looking at, Drake was look at London, right, in the draft a season ago, as opposed to all those other receivers, because they like bigger body guys that work the middle of the field with Kyle Pitts. Also, I just have to say this. He should have said it. They have had a very good free agency offseason, bringing back some of their own, the addition of Jesse Bates on that defense. They would be, if they were interested, actually a pretty good fit.
Okay.
The difference in the Falcons, who finished last in their division, and the rest of the division, the Bucs won the division at 8-9. Everyone else in the division I mean, this is a division that's why they were last, could have been first if a game goes a different way. I mean, that's how crazy close that division was. And you don't go, hey, here's the obvious leader in the clubhouse. I mean, I think they're going to say Carr because he's the most experienced quarterback now that went to the Saints. They just locked up their guard down there in Atlanta to a monster deal. Atlanta fans would lose their minds and be fired up if you had Lamar Jackson in that building. I mean, like,
it's a great building,
this is the quarterback they deserve. They would be so excited. By the way, Arthur Smith, he's a lineman. You don't think that, like, a former offensive lineman. I remember Matt Ryan telling me back in the day that Arthur Smith sat in on every single quarterback meeting. You don't think that he would love to mastermind what this offense could look like around Lamar Jackson? So for Atlanta fans, just alone, I mean, I think they would lose their minds if that came out.
Well, bad news for them. There's more voicemails.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
It's not just a one-team show.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
We got a voicemail from the Colts, and a new head coach on the block, Shane Steichen, is going to shoot his shot and leave a message for Lamar Jackson. Go ahead, Coach.
What's up, big head?
Hello. No one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Lamar, Shane Steichen here, and boy, do I have an offer for you. You see Jalen Hurts ball out this season? Well, guess what? I'm the guy who was coaching him, so I think I know a thing or two about utilizing mobile QBs. If that's not enough, how does being teammates with one of the best running backs in the league sound? You know, Jackson and JT has a nice ring to it. And if you come to Indy, we could get you an actual ring, too. All I'm saying is, think about the division and who you're up against. Ryan Tannehill, more like Ryan over the hill. Trevor Lawrence, more like Trevor Borance. Davis Mills, need I say more? Give us a call back and let's make this thing happen.
Electric Factory from Coach Steichen right there. That's a hell of a pitch. A lot. JP, I hope you have information about flights from Indianapolis to Miami. If not, what do you think about the Colts potentially saying we're going for it?
That's a cute little airport. Looks like a lot of the other ones, like Charlotte and Nashville, that they're building. Yeah, they all look about the same, that group. I will say this. If you make the pitch as Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard, you're not pissing off your quarterback because you don't have one. So there is that they have in their favor, that they can sell it to him hard and they're not offending the guy that's already on their roster. That's a decent spot for them to be in, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't think Shane's the salesman type. He's got to get you in the room and work with you a little bit to sell you a little more.
Sarah?
They pick 4th overall, and this goes back to an argument that James brought up, very valid. So let's say you pick 4th overall and you're going with the quarterback. Worst case scenario, you could get the 4th best option at quarterback in this draft. That's a toss-up, right? Or a guaranteed MVP caliber quarterback. So if you're building your future, do you want to take perhaps the 4th best option in this draft, or a known commodity? And I think that's like, you look at that and it's like, well, then that kind of seems like the most obvious way to go. So if I'm looking at it that way, then yeah, like I would go there. Makes sense.
Well, no, they don't want Lamar. They have the 4th pick. Draft your quarterback. Build for the future. The team is starting over. Gilmore got the hell out of town. I don't want to be a part of this rebuild. He's going to Dallas. If you're Colts fans, draft a quarterback. You got Jonathan Taylor back there. You'll figure out the rest later. Let Lamar go somewhere where he can win.
Imagine Lamar watching this segment. The joke is he's actually going to get calls, we think, this afternoon. I heard we had a message from somewhere in New England, but I think the tape got all scrambled. You know what happens? We'll have to stick a pencil in there and rewind it.
Living in Tampa when Tom Brady came there. The biggest difference, I would say, between the Jets and the Bucs is the Jets being in New York. Whether they're good, they're bad, they're always in the media. They're nationally, they're in the media. Tampa is a smaller market, never in the national media. Even when they were good and on a different Super Bowl run, they are not a national team the way that the Jets typically are. So Brady coming to town changed all of that. What it does is it changed expectations overnight. That here's this organization that Brady, here's the other thing, he was nowhere on the radar of, there was that, was he going to go back to the Patriots?
Yeah, it was nuts.
Never were you ever thinking, as someone who, and I grew up in the Tampa Bay area, are you thinking that this is a possibility? And so when you talk about you've been flirting with this girl, you want her to go to prom, if we go back 6 months ago, was this on the radar that Rodgers could realistically go to the Jets?